How whales lost their legs and couldn't walk anymore. Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today's video is all about how whales lost their legs and couldn't walk anymore. They include whales, which are among the most prominent mammals. While these leviathans may do battle with the ocean's great cod, they are more closely related to cows and camels than to any fish that they may encounter. About 35 million years ago, ancient whales finally parted with their remaining legs, the climax of an eons-long shrinking process. The remains of their ancestors who began the seaward migration more than 50 million years ago are visible in their anatomy. People recognized even during Aristotle's time that whales were not just large, but also different from other marine life. It was recognized by Aristotle that whales, as well as dolphins, the other members of the cetacean group, gave birth to their young. Unlike fish, they were therefore mammals by definition. We now know that some fish give birth to live young. Nevertheless, even Darwin could not fathom how some land mammals became whales as they evolved. Scientists at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City, Dr. Michael J. Novacek, said it was an evolution leap undocumented for decades. Recent fossil discoveries have revealed several critical evolutionary steps in whale evolution as land mammals gradually adapted to swim, dive, feed, and thrive in their new habitat. Some intermediate species were identified. In evolutionary terms, it is intriguing to note that land mammals evolved into marine mammals within only a few million years, hardly any time at all. Among the discoveries made by Dr. Gold was the discovery of an animal living 50 million years ago. He weighed about 600 to 700 pounds and measured 10 feet from snout to tail, which is about the size of a modern sea lion. It appears based on fossil evidence that this animal was an amphibious species that was intermediate between terrestrial whale ancestors and aquatic modern whales. As expected, scientists found a fossilized animal named Ambulocetus. There were still 4 legs, but probably with diminished agility, so the animal could walk on land. Also, it could probably swim using its big feet to hunt in the ocean. One more discovery has been made in Pakistan that extends the transition story by 3 or 4 million years. An animal fossil found last week indicates it was living a life at sea with greater resoluteness. According to Dr. Philip D. Gingerich, a paleontologist at the University of Michigan at Ann Arbor, Rhodocittus carani is the earliest known transitional whale with anatomy adapted for swimming like a whale. Its body was much more streamlined and its spine was flexible, which could have produced the powerful motions necessary for the horizontal tail fluke of modern whales. Until more complete tail fossils are discovered, it is impossible to determine whether Rhodocittus had indeed made this significant advance. The evidence of Dr. Gingerich and colleagues conclude that tail swimming evolved in the world's cetaceans far sooner than previously thought. Researchers have found that at the end of 15 million years, with ancient whales' hind limbs non-functional and all but gone, the lack of Sonic the Hedgehog played a significant role. The animals could have still developed embryonic limb buds as seen in today's spotted dolphins, but they didn't have the Sonic the Hedgehog that is necessary for the development of complete or even partial limbs, although it is active elsewhere in the embryo. The team also showed why Sonic the Hedgehog became inactive and all traces of hind limbs vanished at this point in whale evolution. Cohn said, dolphins' hind limbs buds are devoid of a gene called HAND2, which normally controls Sonic the Hedgehog. Unless it is present, limb development is halted. Researchers studying mammal swimming have determined that sleek bodies are necessary because projecting organs cause a lot of drag, slowing down swimmers, explained Tewison, who spends a few months every year collecting fossils that document whales' transition from land to water. In general, researchers believe that findings support traditional evolutionary theory, which holds that small changes over long periods amount to big differences. Despite Sonic the Hedgehog's apparent role in whales' evolution of hind limbs, it is still open to debate. Ancient whales probably lost the vestiges of their limb because Sonic the Hedgehog was absent, according to a Harvard professor of genetics not involved in this study. But it's hard to be sure since they are studying events hundreds of years after they occurred. According to their hypothesis, Sonic's limbs may have continually shrunk until it was replaced by the modern animal. The study is notable, Tabin said, because it combines fossil data and developmental information. Tabin said that whales underwent a remarkable transformation to become more like ancestral fishes. We are learning more about how genetic changes lead to morphological changes as evolutionary studies and developmental genetics converge. It is a development that was achieved simply and had profound implications for how whales survived. We only have begun to understand how genetic changes control evolution in the last 5 years. And so with that, we have come to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed watching. What do you think about how whales lost their legs and couldn't walk anymore? Let us know your views in the comment section below. And until the next video, stay tuned and subscribe to our channel for more uploads like this one. Also, if you're not subscribed yet, then do it now. Otherwise, you will miss out. See you soon and goodbye.